why you can't mock me, you can't shame me. You can't make me feel bad. Because if you call my life a failure, I just need to look in the direction of the one who spoke to me. And I see that I'm on course. That's why I can't be under pressure. I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm an actor. There's a script. You see the way they were acting just now. They were following a script. You can't see the script. You saw the acting. But before they came on stage, they have run through a script. That's how your life is supposed to be. What men are supposed to be reading from your life is you acting out a spiritual script written by the very finger of God. So your husband has already been identified in this script. Your wife has already been identified in this script. The day you are going to leave worry is already identified in the script. During the 120 days, on the last day, I didn't know why I had a leading to pray for a sister. I've never prayed for her before. Never. She has been around. Always around. Always, especially in midweek service. Me, I don't take people seriously in RCN until I start seeing you in midweek service. That's when I know that, okay, this person is serious. She's always around. But that day, as I looked in her direction, I just noticed that God said, put your hand on this one. I didn't know I was doing send forth. As I prayed for her, she now came to meet me in the car and said, all my papers to go to Canada are ready. I had never spoken to her before. She's alive. As I prayed for her and asked the Lord to begin a stirring, I didn't know that I was releasing her into her next phase. She has arrived Canada now. I sat with her and I told her, you know why God is sending you there? Because we've seen many people be faithful in Nigeria and arrive on the shores of the West and they are dancing, all I want is your waist. Give me banana, take banana. So it was the reason God said I should put a hand on her. What has God told you? This is important. Very important. Next verse. Next verse. Verse 3. Then I went down to the potter's house, and there he was what? Making something at the wheel. Another thing I need to say to you quickly is that your life is work in progress. Preach to your neighbor, say your life is work in progress. You see, you will not be finished goods until the curtain is drawn. As long as we are still in this realm, there's certain work that God will still be working in your life. Now, the reason this is important is, if you know that your life is a work in progress, it means that if you suffer accidents on the way, the scar is not supposed to be permanent. Stay with me. Notice that I choose my words carefully. The scar is not supposed to be permanent. And when we get to the next verse, I will show you why the scar is not supposed to be permanent. The scar is not supposed to be permanent because it depends on where you suffer the accident. If you are still with me, say amen. Amen. Because there are two environments in which growth is possible. Two environments. It's either you are growing in the light or you are growing in the dark. And by the light, I mean the environment where God is the one in charge of the props. God is the one calling the shots. If you are growing in the light and you are still under God's hand, there is no wound you cannot come back from. If not, by today I should be a homosexual. Satan identified me as a young boy and saw that, There's something on his life. And wanted to create a crack in my soul with a strange appetite. And so he put some of his ungodly seed on my path to abuse me so that a strange appetite will grow. But you see, somehow, by the mercies of God, I came out of the dark and into the light. You see, one of the greatest things I thank God for is that he struck my heart early with the bond of sincerity, the virtue of sincerity. I don't know how to be fake. You know, you want to play Ludo with Jesus. You want to be in green house, Jesus is in red house. You are doing double C's. You are even looking for how to cheat God. Me, I learned early in my walk with God that if God does not help me, I don't have options. So I stayed in his hand. I would rather come to God and say, see where he's paining me. See the thing that has happened to me. I don't know why I can't sleep in the night and naked pictures are in my head. I will tell God. Than pretend that everything is okay with me and allow myself the opportunity to grow in the wrong environment. When you find somebody who claims to bear the name of the Lord, and that person still has the willingness to be Satan's tool, the person bears the title of Christian, but they are growing in the wrong environment. Something else has become the seed in the womb of their destiny. That's why such an individual can pray in church, but still go back home to be a slave to porn, a slave to all kinds of immoral appetites. That's why somebody will touch another man's wife in church and still climb the pulpit to preach. Wealth. What did Satan promise Jesus? The world. He said, I will give you the world. It means, bro, that you can have the world outside God. Satan can give you. If he knows that that is what you want, he will give you. So there are people who are famous on social media. They don't know God. Meanwhile, they claim to be preaching for him. But God doesn't know them. But they have a large following on social media. And they can quote scriptures. And they can say all kinds of things. But by the time you find out where they are rooted and planted, is the environment of the dark, where Satan is king. So Satan controls their time, controls their appetites. Because every man's life is work in progress. It depends on which potter holds your vessel. Which potter holds your vessel. So there are certain men that the potter that is holding their vessel is weaving into them all kinds of strange appetites that Satan can take glory from their vessel. I taught you that while Satan has many people he can use, he likes to use people that are one of us. He likes people in the light, because people in the light, once he can corrupt somebody in the light, such a vessel is more potent to him. He said, I went down to the potter's house. Next question I want to ask you tonight. Which potter's house have you been since January? Which potter supervised your making this year? And you know the potter is always busy making something on the wheel, trying to forge you into a vessel that can host him. So when the Lord, the King of Kings, the King of Glory, when he wants to chastise you, it's so that you will be a partaker of his holiness. Ooh. So that you can bear the weight of his glory. He knows what he wants to do with your life. So when he disciplines you, it's not to punish you, it's so that you can partake of his holiness. So the alternate potter, who is the dark one, Satan himself, who can manifest as an angel of light, when he too wants to weave himself into you, is so that you will be a part of his corruption, his defilement, his vileness. Because your vessel is not designed to be empty of a spirit. Which potter's house did you dwell this year? Your own may not be Korean drama. Your own might be Z-World. Love fall from heaven and kill everybody, season 12. Your own may even be food. Which potter's house? And you see, by the time you sit down to x-ray your life carefully, you will be able to know who walked on your life. You will know. You know you can't deceive Satan. You cannot deceive God. You cannot deceive yourself. These three entities always know the truth about your spirit reality. These three entities. When you stand before Satan, Satan knows. You say, ah, fake man. When you stand before God, God too knows. You say, ah, let him that names the name of the Lord, he knows you are not his. And you yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you have worn your Ashoibi for Sunday, green shoe, black trouser, purple shirt, and pink cap. And you are planning to go and join them in church to do the regular thing that organized religion does. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you will tell yourself, saying, wow. You yourself know that you are fake. You know you don't have anything with God. And you see, when I begin to teach you how to build with God, I want to stir something in your heart. If God can be found, why fake an experience? Why not find him in truth? Why not get to know God for real? If there's a price to pay to know God, why not pay it? Why not pay it? If your mates are paying it. The 24 hours that Blessing was talking about, it was not a general meeting, it's workers' meeting. Because if we tell you people to do 10 hours, workers and ministers should be able to do 24. It was a workers and ministers meeting. The reason we do those things is that we are not looking for a record to set. We want to find God. We want to know God. This God that people... I was reading about George Muller 2 nights ago, and I wept on my bed. I wept where I was. My family had slept. I was crying like a baby. George Muller read the Bible before he died 200 times. Cover to cover. 200 times. In my mentorship groups, whether it is North America or Africa, I tell them to finish the Bible every month. Some people can't keep up. We meet to pray once a week. Some people will not join. Because when they hear mentorship, they want, their first concern is, teach us deep things, deep things. The things that raised great men were basics. If you cannot sustain the basics, you cannot bear the glory. Basics. 200 times. No wonder George Muller has a record that none of his prayers God did not answer. None. None. Never begged any man for money. Never announced for support. Never begged anybody to support the work of God in his hand. He will be at home. God will strike men where they are. And when I read his biography, I found out his secret. Muller knew God.